So I'm here today at Dunster Castle, which is in Somerset. It's quite a nice place, and I'm here really because over the last few weeks you've seen me do a lot of animals, you've seen me do a lot of birds and animals. I've done Longleat, I've done West Midlands Safari Park, Birdland. 3 out of the 4 vlogs that I've made are all about animals. But the way that I started was actually with castles, and I do think that the whole architecture thing is very, very interesting. So I've come here today really partly to see the place, obviously, but partly as well to try and get a nice picture of the castle. Maybe a black and white, I don't know. I do quite like the black and white images that I've been able to produce. And the other thing I want to try and explore is what is my niche. Obviously I've done a lot of animal stuff. It's not necessarily where I want to sit when doing photography. I don't really want to be tied down to doing one particular thing. So where is it that I'm happiest? Is it going to be doing something like architecture here? Have I not found it yet? I'm not sure. Is it going to be landscapes? We'll find out. But today's going to be a chance to explore some buildings again and actually try that out with the new camera. Now this is a National Trust property, and because of that I haven't brought my tripod with me. It really wouldn't be fair to set a tripod up in front of people who are just trying to enjoy their experience of being in a National Trust place. It does mean, however, I'm going to miss some shots because I can't do long exposures, I can't do things like that. Never mind, you do what you can when you come to places like this, and I think I've seen a shot that might work just over here. I found myself in a sort of woodland walk, which is quite nice, and there's a river off to my side. The exposure that I thought I was going to get, it just didn't work, unfortunately. It just wasn't quite right. It wasn't quite as nice as it looks when you just look at it with your eyes. So, you know, as soon as you start to impose things onto a scene, like a depth of field sometimes, maybe just the framing from a camera, sometimes you lose, it's interesting, what the photo's about. Now, I say that's interesting because I've just come across this, which we'll flip around here, which is big leaves along a path. This might be interesting. So I'm going to have a quick look to see if there's something here that I can actually get, because this might be a nice shot, and the sun's just coming out as well, which means we might have some interesting bits of light. So if I go back here, like I said, I'm handheld for all of this, so I can't show you the process of taking the photo, much like many of the other vlogs, but I can take it and then tell you what I did. I walked along the bank a little bit to try and get those leaves. I just wanted to see what it was like from the other way around, and I came across this absolutely beautiful looking bridge. I have to get a shot here. This is one of the reasons that I actually came to this, because I'd seen a shot of this and I thought that's something that I need to get a shot of. Well, it's just over there. It's just over there. So I'm going to do this now. It's got running water underneath it. So I'm going to do it handheld. I'm going to do 4 or 5 different exposures. We'll blend those together in Photoshop to try and get that look that I've had before of flowing water without actually having a tripod and being able to do a long exposure. So we're going to try that on this particular thing. And here's the shot I got. I'm quite pleased with this one, although there was a lot of undergrowth in front of the image, and originally I thought that this would be a nice border for the image, but I'm not sure. I think that some of those strands of grass in the front, they actually detract a little bit from the overall image. Luckily, another exposure was right around the corner. Well, I think I got the shot. I also tried to get a shot of some of these big leaves that I was talking about. Turns out they're giant rhubarb, but I mean they're massive. You can't convey how absolutely huge these rhubarb leaves are. They're totally amazing. Anyway, exploring around a bit, I found there were a couple of different waterfall-y like things there. I mean, running water over a weir, really, not a waterfall like you'd think. Really lovely area. bit difficult to find a shot that actually fitted in with what I wanted to capture, but I think I got one just behind me actually. Again, I've taken multiple exposures. Now, I might have to do something in Photoshop with this, which I don't normally do, and that's sky replacement, because it's so dark under the canopies of these trees, by the time you see the sky, it's completely blown out. And so I need to do something about that. I need to do something that's going to solve that problem for me. Not entirely sure what yet, but I think a little bit of sky replacement on this particular image is going to solve all of those issues that I was talking about. I could have done bracketing, multiple exposures, but when you're taking multiple images to try and get that running water effect in the first place, that seems a little churlish when you can just select something in Photoshop and then change it. I am a big believer actually of getting as much as you can in camera, but not limiting yourself by saying it all has to be done in camera. Because there are plenty of times when there's a particular shot you want and you just cannot get it on the day, where a little work in Photoshop or a little work in Lightroom will actually bring out a lot of the good things about that shot. And what you're left with from your photo is the composition, you know, the framing, sure, yeah, you know, the exposures and things that you dialed into the camera. But they're better shots for having had some attention to it after the fact, I think.
Here's that second shot. I am much more pleased with this one. I did replace the sky here, but what I did was take a single image balanced for the sky, so what you're seeing is what it actually looked like on the day. And in both of these shots, I'm really pleased with how that multiple exposure technique is working in the water, and I hope I was able to bring a little bit of an ethereal look to the image overall.
I'm going to move on. There's an old mill up here with some water wheels. I don't know what that's going to look like, but interesting enough to warrant taking some photos. And like I said before, this is a National Trust place. I've come here really because there's a castle and I want to do a picture of a castle. So the big picture today is going to be the see if I can get a castle shot. But there are other things here before I even get to the castle which are of interest, and you shouldn't just limit yourself to going, I'm going to this location because this is the one picture that I want to take. Unless, of course, you're a professional and then you've planned it out meticulously. If you're going out to take photos, get a vast range of things. Try things out, because you know some things won't work and some things will. And it's the things that do that actually, in my experience, have been my best pictures, of just the things where I've tried something new and bang, I've got something which is a little bit different. Anyway, I'm going to move on now. Hopefully you've just seen the image that I've taken up there, and there's probably going to be some sort of, I don't know, voiceover or something.
Well, yes, the mill, yes. The mill was really nice, but I didn't get a lot there, mostly because of the sun, actually. There was a massive difference in exposure when you were looking at the wheel itself, and that meant that the images that I could get ended up being both over and underexposed. I did get these few, however, from the front of the wheel, and actually I'm quite pleased with this water wheel shot. After a quick stop for a drink at the little cafe, it was time for me to head up to the main castle.
Well, I've not made it to the castle yet. I really gave myself a coronary. They were two very, very steep, I say very steep, they weren't that steep really. They were steeper than I can cope with because I'm very unfit, that's what I should be saying. And I've walked up, and luckily there's a bench at the top, so I've taken a minute to sort of sit down and take a look at the place, which is quite nice. The good thing about this is that you're wandering around in some just beautiful countryside, really nice countryside. The bad thing, of course, is that this used to be a fortified castle, and so they built it on a hill, so you've got to walk up that hill. So I've been around the castle, I've gone inside as well, and I wasn't really expecting to see any shots inside because of the way that these buildings are kept. There's very low light, I might have got one or two, but I don't think there's anything special. Might be something that can go on Instagram, but nothing that I'm actually going to put in my portfolio. Not the sort of building shots that I want. I did get one photo, which is looking that way towards the castle, which I'll show you, try and put up on screen right now. Wide angle, won't work on Instagram because it's not square, but I don't know, it might work. And then there's one of the ruins behind me. And coming around here, actually, it's made me think of, well, you know, when I first started out today, I was talking about niches. I was talking about trying to find the place where you feel more comfortable about taking photography. And you know, what is your thing? Is it landscapes? Is it flowers or people or buildings or what? And you know what? I don't think I want to be limited to anything like that right now. And maybe sometime in the future, that's the absolute thing that I need to do. Perhaps. But right now, I'm quite happy. You know, I'd never have come here if I was just doing landscapes. I'd have gone somewhere in the middle of nowhere, I'd have waited all day, I'd have been cold, the chances are there wouldn't have been any sun. So even though I don't think I found my castle shot today, it has left me thinking about this niche, about, you know, what do I do? Do I do landscapes? Do I focus on animals? Do I focus on what? And you know what? I don't think I'm ready to decide yet. In fact, what I'm really interested in more than anything else is doing photography for the art of it. And that means that I might not actually have to decide at any point in the future. We'll see.
But that wasn't all that the day had in store for me. Now, I didn't think that we were going to get a sunset on that day because it was mostly overcast. But on the way home, the British weather proved me wrong and there were stunning colours in the sky. So before going back home, I called into a local church, and just as golden hour was ending, I quickly set up my camera for this final shot. I may not have quite got the castle shot that I was after, the architecture shot that I was after, but this is a very close second, and a very, very nice second prize. I hope you've enjoyed and are enjoying these photo blogs and trips that I'm taking you on. If you do, please leave a like and subscribe and share this video. Those simple things help me an awful lot, and that means that I can make more of these videos for you. Until next time, thanks for watching.